Greetings, I'm John Pedersen, Superintendent at the new Underwood School, and today we're going to tape another session of It's Your School, because hopefully most of the people that are watching this are people that are very interested in our district and have someone involved in it. So today we're going to have an interesting session, and we're going to meet with Irene Madsen, who has been the long-time business official here at the school, and we're going to talk a little finance, because whether we like it or not, finance is a big issue with our school district. So welcome to the session, Irene.
Thank you.
Irene, let's start out, because we like to talk about who the people are that are an important part of our school system. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and I know the short time I've been here, we've had a few discussions about that ranch or farm way up north of here.
Yes.
So tell us about yourself.
I came from a farm in North Dakota. I moved down here when I was a freshman, and my husband and I are high school sweethearts, and we got married. We've been married for almost 37 years. This is my 37th year employed here.
37?
Yeah.
Now, you haven't been always a business official, or have you?
For 2 years I was secretary, and then
Okay.
I was the business
Do you
manager.
remember who the business manager was then?
Oh yeah, Hazel Mettler. She was a long-time business manager here, and she was from the...
So you've been business manager 35 years?
Yeah.
Well, guess what, Irene? The logical question is this. Has anything changed?
Oh, no. Yes,
A bunch.
the paperwork has changed a bunch.
Yeah.
A lot more paperwork for the government.
You know, and I think here's the other thing, Irene. I think we talk in education, at least in South Dakota, that we like local control. I know when I lobbied out in Pierre, it was always let the local school boards decide what's best for their kids. But it's really changed in that regard, hasn't it?
Very much, yeah. They say they like local control also, but they tell us what to do pretty much.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I told you I wouldn't put you on the spot, but you've had several superintendents?
Yeah, when our new superintendent comes, it will be the 10th counting you, so.
Okay, so you do remember.
I do remember, yeah.
You trained 10 of us.
Well, I couldn't train some of them.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. You know, one thing that you've had daughters or daughters?
Yeah, I have 2 daughters. They both graduated from here and went on to be USD graduates, and one is actually a school counselor.
Okay.
And the other one is working in graphic design in Sioux Falls.
And one's in Sioux Falls and one's in
Des
Iowa?
Moines, yeah.
Okay, all right. And we got a grandchild coming?
Our first grandchild's coming in August.
Yeah.
We're real excited.
There will be. Okay, Irene, let's talk a little bit about money, and I guess our finances. And, you know, and one thing that I've learned since coming to New Underwood is really how unfair capital outlay, bond redemption, special ed, how unfair they are. And I didn't mention general fund, because with general fund, you know, we're going to try to keep this simple, but you know, probably 85% of our budget is general fund, and, well, excuse me, our 85% of the general fund budget is personnel.
Yeah, it is.
It is
Salaries
personnel.
and wages. You know,
Salaries and
benefits
wages.
And benefits. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And what the state says, for example, next year, we're going to receive $4,877 is what we're going to get for each one of our students. And of course, what you do is you levy locally from the valuation that you have, and whatever is left over to get to 4877 comes from the state.
Right, and that right now is 79% of that comes from the state, and, you know, only 21% from our taxpayers. So.
Because we have such a low valuation.
Because we have such a low valuation.
That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. And I think where I think the unfairness is in regards to the capital outlay. And I'm gonna, you know, I guess use our neighbor. Right. And our neighbor is Wall. Yeah. And the thing that surprised me when I arrived here, and I did a little research into the finances, Wall actually has less students than we do. You know, I think last September we had 265. Mm-hmm. And approximately, Wall has approximately 200 million in valuation. And what that means is when we add up all the land, all the houses, all the industry, that they have 200 million.
Right.
Well, then if you do it for New Underwood, where we have more students, ours is about 100.
Right, which means we can only raise about $258,000 a year in capital outlay.
And we can levy how much?
3 meals per thousand.
So in other words, whatever your valuation is for capital outlay, they can take $3 is what they do. So Wall has got 200 million, and we've got 100 million.
Plus Wall has impact aid also because
Yeah.
of the Badlands, so they have that extra
Yeah.
money there too.
And impact aid basically is land within your district that you cannot not draw taxes
Right.
from.
Right.
And so that's, federal lands, and so then the government kicks in on that.
And then that money, they can pretty much do anything with, so
Yeah,
they can use
yeah.
it to build schools or
Yeah.
wherever they want it.
And I suppose I suppose I should be a little bit cautious with that, because we're all in this together, but I'm gonna say this about Wall and us, and I so respect Wall, they do a good job.
Right, they do.
But I drive by there on the interstate, and I see that school, and I visited it, it's a very nice K-12 building, and I see all the dirt work going on out there, and they're building a new track and a new football stadium, and I understand.
AstroTurf.
Yeah, AstroTurf.
I asked, and they're putting AstroTurf.
They're putting
yeah.
AstroTurf, I'm not sure all colleges have that, but
Yeah.
it's nice, and I commend them.
Yeah,
Okay, we can't do that because we just don't have
Right.
the means available.
right, you
You know.
can't even replace our 1929 school.
Yeah, I know. So in a way, I guess, I understand where some people can say that general fund is fair because we get the 4877, but yet on the other side, it possibly isn't.
Yeah, facility-wise, it isn't, so.
Now, the other thing, let's talk a little bit about open enrollment. How does open enrollment work?
Well, it used to be tuition, if the kids didn't belong in your district, they could pay tuition, and we had quite a few that would come from Meade County and from Custer County and from the Wall area. And now it's open enrollment, so the students can open enroll to any district they want. And we have about twice as many open enrolled kids as we had tuition students when we had tuition students. Because at that time, we didn't get any from Rapid City, which now we get quite a few kids from Rapid City.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that New Underwood has probably one of the larger percentages of student population being open enrollment of any school in the state.
We do, we have about 95 students, I believe.
And so that is a very high percent. But the thing, and I've told people that I've driven down this interstate, a few hundred times in my career, and I had no idea that just a few miles north of the interstate is the Meade School District.
Yeah, 2 miles.
And so consequently, those folks, their tax dollars on their land and on their homes goes to the Meade District.
That's right.
Is what it does. And so it's kind of a catch-22 because, I don't want any of our open enrolled students to think we don't appreciate them.
Right.
Because without them, we'd be in big trouble general fund-wise.
Yes, we would be.
And even though our curriculum offerings are limited, it would be much worse. So, open enrollees keep coming. I mean, we appreciate it. But I guess, it's kind of interesting, and I think I shared this with you. I was up in Aberdeen to the state basketball tournament. I had a grandson up there, and I ran into Larry Roden, who used to be senator and representative from over there in Union County. And I know he was talking to me, or we were having a discussion about the possibility of down the road having some of the capital outlay valuation following the students. And of course, to me, it makes sense. And of course, some of my colleagues will say, well, John, it's just because you're in New Underwood. But I think it's a fairness issue.
It is. It's very much a fairness issue.
And so consequently, it's something that hopefully things will look at. What are the different funds that we have in education? We talked a little bit about some of them, but what are the different funds that we have?
Well, we have general fund, which pays for the salaries and wages and the classroom supplies, and then capital outlay, which pays for your equipment and building, and special ed, which pays for special ed services, and then the food services, and then we have a pension fund, which helps us pay for the retirement, and then our bond redemption fund, which pays for our building.
And right now, we're still paying for our elementary edition.
Right, and that is scheduled to be paid off in 2022, unless we pay it off early.
2022, okay. And pension fund, we can levy.
30 cents.
So we can go 30 cents on pension. Special ed, we can go.
We can go up to, we go 1.4, $1.40, but it's $1.41.7, I think is what the legal is.
Is what we can.
Yeah.
And you'd said earlier that in capital outlay, we can go $3 a thousand. And then in general fund, really, the state sets the mill levy, don't they?
Yeah, they set
the
the
dollars per thousand.
Yeah, for the egg and the owner occupied.
Okay.
And the other.
10 minutes go quickly, but, and I know your area is business, it's the finance, but small school, you're involved in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you
And
know.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
You know, a lot of people, you know, I know many times somebody will come and ask me a question, I'll say, well, let's ask Irene.
Yeah.
Because Irene knows. But, you know, try to answer this. What's changed in education? Has much changed in education over the years?
Not really, I don't think so.
Have kids changed?
Well, kids have changed, yeah, but not really, not a lot. I mean, they're more independent and, but, you know, I don't think they have really.
Yeah.
They're still,
You know, and I think that you've heard me say this many times, that I really think we're fortunate in New Underwood to have the students that we have.
we're very fortunate.
Because overall, you know, we've really got some good kids with a bright future. That's not to say that every once in a while in that office, there's a little excitement and there's a few students that challenge us along
That's
the
true,
way.
yeah. I think that, but not as much as in other schools, I don't
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You know, let me ask you one last question. I know the answer to this. We're talking about how challenging it is financially in education. In the 35 years that you've been a business manager, have we ever said we've got enough money?
No,
You know,
we've never had enough.
And that's sometimes I think we have to be cautious, you know,
Yeah.
because I think some people say, well, you're always complaining, you know, superintendents and educators, and I think it's always been this way, but I think the bottom line is we're pretty frugal and we attempt to do the best we can.
And we always want to do better, and that's why we never have enough.
You bet.
We always want to do better.
Well, thanks for 37 years, 35 as a business official.
Thank
You do an excellent job for us.
Thank you.